to be as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to leadership position in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen. Welcome. Take the oath.
I, Roslyn, do swear that the evidence I shall give before this committee is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me
God. Welcome, Roslyn. Let me take this opportunity to introduce my team. I'm Peter Kibet, Chair, the Department of Water, Environment, Energy, Forestry, and Natural Resources.
Chukuri Matthew is my name. MCHI Core Member of the Water Committee and Natural Resources.
Anthony Ruta, Member to this committee.
Thank you very much, Chair. Roslyn, I'm Philip Rono, the leader of Majority County Assembly, and I'm a friend to this committee today. Thank you.
My name is Kipkuru Bernard, Research Officer.
Good evening. I'm William Tole.
My name is Vicky Mutai. I'm Dana Mutai.
My name is Renis Chepmatich.
I'm Patrick Pierre.
Thank you. Welcome, Ross. Let me give you this opportunity to introduce yourself and your position in this Department of Water.
Thank you. I think I mentioned my name. I'm Roslyn Ngeny. I'm the chair of the board of Kericho Water and Sanitation Company, having been there from 2017 to date. I'm serving my second term actually currently. I joined in 2017 and I joined the Committee of Audit and Risk. Later I became the chair of Finance and Administration. Then the then chair was Soy Kipsuge left. He didn't renew his contract, so I took over as the chair. With me, I sit with 9 board members. We are 11 in total, but 9 are independent. And then we have the MD as the secretary of the board. So we have myself as the chair. We have one CPA Langat, who is the chair of the Finance and Admin Committee. We have Rero Susan, who is the chair of Audit and Risk Committee. We have Engineer Keegan, who is the chair of the Technical Committee. Then other members, Julius Tanui. We have Simon Serem, Chalodi Chepkorir, and Apollo Cheriot, who represents the county government. We have 2 members from the departments of water, and with us is Honorable Rosemary, who sits as a member. and finance CCM, Lenny sits as a board member also. So that brings us to a number of 11 members in our board.
Chairman, what does the law says on the number of members to sit in the board? Is it supposed to be 11 or 9?
Okay, we have the two who are actually from the Department of Finance and Water. Then we have the MD, who is an ex-official, is our secretary. The members, we have one extra whom we were actually thinking of not replacing, because initially we had that provision, but the new arrangement is supposed to be 9 members in total. So the arrangement would now reduce by 1, which have a representation from the peri-urban and the institutions, so they will be merged together. So that anomaly will be corrected, and the number would reduce to 9.
I believe this 9 should composed of even the CEC and the CEC for finance and the CEC for water should be among the 9.
Yes,
according to my own understanding.
They are actually the 9 of. They are 9 in total, but 11 because of one extra a member who joined us through the regulators' advisory to have the peri-urban and urban representation.
What of the MD?
The MD is a member by virtue of being the secretary. So
yes, so it should be among the 9.
Yeah, that's why I said one of them will have to be removed from our arrangement as per the advisory now. So we'll have the MD being the secretary and a member, of course, of the board. Then the peri-urban and urban representation would be reduced.
Maybe for the board to be properly constituted.
Yes.
I think now, according to me and my understanding, maybe you will correct me, but I believe I'm right. 1, the MD automatically becomes, it's just like a school. See, a school also, you will never leave the principal from being a board member. So by the virtue of being a principal, that is automatically, it becomes, he or she becomes the board member. Number 2, he or she becomes automatically the secretary to the board. Just like the County Assembly of Kericho, the County Assembly Service Board, we have the clerk, and the clerk automatically become a member of the board and automatically become the secretary of the board. So according to me, it's like, and you know, Rosemary, I've been the chair before. Even from 2017, you know, I've been with 2 people.
Yes.
Now, I think the number of members of this board of KEWASCO is excessed by 4. 1, because you've said Rosemary, that is 1. You've talked of CPA Langat, 2. Susan, 3. Engineer Keegan, 4. Julius, 5. Seren, 6. Chief Korir, 7.
7.
Apollo, 8. CC, 4. Water, 9. Lenny, 10. And the MD,
yes.
11.
We are 11.
And you see, in this case, we have excess by 2.
Yes.
Does this not making this board unconstitutional now based on the regulations and the act itself?
Actually, what happened, Chair, when the former governor, we notified him of that of the inclusion of the county government. We used to have what do you call sub-county administrators. They would rotate from the county sub-counties, but now he said he was not interested in giving the opportunity to any of them because he thought they were not representing the entire county per se. So he appointed Apollo, because he did that at the last minute of his exit. So Apollo came in to take care of the interest of the county government, which used to be done by the sub-county administrators.
Why should Apollo, who is just a staff of the county government, for example, comes in to represent the interest of the county government, yet you have two, that is CC in charge of finance, who is the head of the county treasury, for that matter, being a member of the same committee. You have the CC in charge of water, who by all values, you see KEWASCO is fully owned by the county government of Kericho in the first case, and this CC of water is the basic. Both of them are advisors to the governor. It matters. The CC for water, economic plan, for water, forestry, natural resources and the likes, is an automatic advisor to the governor in terms of a department. And the CC for finance and economic planning and the head of the county treasury, the CC is actually a sole advisor to the governor in terms of issues to do with finances. And now, him being a member of board of KEWASCO, how will you second a junior staff to represent a county government, yet you have two very senior staffs who should be representing the county government?
Chair, I may not wish to delve into that discussion because we asked the same when the letter of the director was given to was brought to our attention.
But you are the chairman.
Yes, we actually raised it, but it was done when we had no one from the. You remember when the transition
So you cannot say, you cannot enter to such a discussion while you are the chair of the KEWASCO board of directors, of which it is in a better understanding that you have an extra member who is not, or she is not supposed to be sitting in your board meetings. And one is that the reason why we are here today is because of the management of KEWASCO. And management also can be supervised and be directed by the board of directors before even it comes to our end. Because at some point, we are the one budgeting. We are the one helping the KEWASCO to implement through the Ministry of Department of Water. So you will allow us today, we discuss this matter, although that you are requesting the honorable members here not to discuss, but we want to know the reason why one Apollo or any representative from the county government sitting in the board, while we have the CC in charge of finance and the CC in charge of water. Kindly tell us.
And then maybe, as you answer that one, I think you'll be writing down. I remember I was one of the key speakers during the merger of KEWASCO together with Delil Bay. And when you were introducing, I still remember, it is still clear in my mind, when you were ushering in the members of the board of KEWASCO, I didn't see Apollo anywhere. I think it was, when did we merge the KEWASCO and Delil Bay? I think it was around 2018.
November.
2018 November.
Yes.
And that time, when you were doing the introduction of your members, I did add of the name Apollo, or you did it along the way?
I will answer it, Chair. Apollo's entry to our board came just before the exit of the Apollo came in just before the exit of the former regime, and it was done.
He came in around, can you be specific on the time that he came in, and maybe which provision of the act, or actually which provision of the law did the governor then used to introduce Apollo to the board of KEWASCO. Yet back there, even during the merger of KEWASCO and Dililbe that time, when we were making it one, you remember we did it at Ray's Hotel.
Yes, we did.
And we did a lot of meetings before then, maybe in Kisumu. We did a lot of meetings. Now, when we were ushering in now the two, when we were making the two companies one, based on regulations now from the ministry, I remember that time the was it the chairperson who was coming to preside over the two mergers? When we were introducing, the board was fully, I think by that time the board used to constitute of 7 members. And Apollo was nowhere. Which act or the provision of the law did the governor use to introduce Apollo to the board?
Through the chair, Apollo joined us in 2022, if I'm not wrong, just before the elections, because one, we were running into quorum issues because there was that lacuna. We didn't have, there was a transition period which we were going to have. So the MD wrote to the governor, or he went and saw the governor, because we actually were concerned about the quorum. Then he said he has appointed Apollo to come in from the county government as a representative. Thereafter, a letter followed.
Chair, when you say you don't meet the quorum, who was not supposed to be in the meeting, say that you need a quorum. And you have given us the list of all the members who are supposed, unless you are telling us there are some of the directors here who have not been active, so that you appoint Apollo to join. And you should give us the right direction, because it shows that when Apollo joins you, you are the chairperson. And the Constitution is very clear. The Constitution is very clear. So please, you have said that make sure you take the oath. The oath is to give us the truth, and nothing but the truth. And this is a very strong committee in this assembly. So don't take it lightly, because we need the evidence and the truth of the matter. So kindly give us, how did you arrive? And you being the chair, you know, as per the Constitution, the requirements are supposed to be 9 members. And in fact, you are excessed by 2. So in fact, we are talking of Apollo. There is one also that we are supposed to be excluding from the list. So maybe you'll give us a clarification there.
Thank you, Chair. I think I mentioned the entry of Apollo during the transition, because when we notified the executive governor that we were supposed to have meetings, and he mentioned that let's have somebody from the Department of Water, but then the CC was not present. So we got the name of Apollo. We got Apollo being brought to us from the county government, because we needed somebody to represent that bit.
But
otherwise,
Chair,
the CC Finance.
Chair,
sorry,
kindly,
yes.
Kindly
Yeah.
tell us, what does the law say, or what does the policies and the bylaws of the Kericho Water and Sanitation Company says when it comes to formation of the directors? Because how do you write to a governor to request to send a representative while we have a representative already by the name Patrick? By them is the CPA, Dr. Patrick Mutai. And also we had Geoffrey Ruto, Honorable Geoffrey Ruto, who was the then CC Water, sitting in the board. Do you mean that the 2 was missing in action? Because one is that we have the 2 being the part of the board members of KEWASCO. And now you are requesting also the executive to just second another person to be part of the board. You want to confirm to this committee that the two was missing in action?
Yes.
In addition to that, on the issue of quorum, for you to have a quorum, how many members are you supposed to have at least?
At least 5.
At least 5.
Yes.
And you were 11.
No, we were not 11 then.
You were 10.
We were 10, yes.
Madam,
yeah.
If the quorum can be at least 5 members, do you think the issue of quorum was really a challenge?
It wasn't the major problem.
And why did you request for another member?
We needed some issues to be aligned with the water department program, and we didn't have any response.
Issues like?
We had a budget which we had proposed. We had a facilitation which we had asked for. You remember during COVID, we had a lot of back and forth in terms of the financing and the support which we needed. And the members who were then from the county representation were not coming to us as we needed. So we asked the executive to help us out, because you remember the declaration the governor had made to the customers or to the community that you don't payments of the bills and what have you. So we wanted at least something from the executive to be able to minute and also record should any query arise going forward. We could not have just guessed to give an answer to the questions we were being asked by the WASREP, by the water. We had the agencies who were coming out to help us, but we didn't have a concrete answer to give. So we actually requested that if we could have somebody to be taking our issues further beyond where we could not reach.
By then, where was the CEC water?
CEC water he never attended our meetings regularly, if I can report that. He was on and off. CEC Finance equally he was
already engaged in politics.
He was not coming to us. That is what I can say in summary. So we needed at least some audience.
About the CEO water?
CEO water was not appointed then to sit with us. He came on request. There's a time we used to have meetings in their office, in their office block. And I went and requested the director if he could join us so that we could have some way forward, and issues which we were discussing we were not getting any inroads into what is the plan, what are we going to do next. So we had issues of their representation.
Correct, we have understood.
Yes.
Now, was Apollo in a position to solve the issue in terms of transacting anything with the county government? Number 2, do Apollo has the appointment letter?
Yeah.
Is fully constituted. Are you getting me?
Yes, I am.
We have CEC Finance, who is always in the office. And I know whenever you have meetings, you will be able to come. The same thing applies to CEC Water. Apollo. Is he really supposed to be there? And yet the county government of Kericho is fully represented, according to you.
Thank you, Honorable Anthony. Through the chair, I think the presence or the representation of Apollo is not adding value to us in terms of where he comes or where he represents. Reason being, we have the 2 offices represented ably by the CECs. Yes, the topmost of or members of or leadership in the department. Then the letter he actually brought a letter which was signed by the governor and appointing the other one. So he presented, a letter was sent to us, or was sent to the secretary from the governor's office, and he's appointed up to 2025. Was I think that letter was, out of interest, I wanted to know how it was done or how it was written and where he's representing, because the rest of the members have their representation stipulated very well, even in the CR12, where CPA Langat comes to us from the professional bodies, RERO comes from the private or the public institutions, Chalodi represents us from the people living with disability and youth and women. We have Simon
Madam
Serem. Yes.
We have got no issues
with the
others.
Okay.
Yeah?
So
Abolo was seconded to the board.
Yes.
Because the county government was not represented. But at this point in time, the county government of Kericho in the board is well represented. County government being well represented, the presence of Abolo has been rendered irrelevant. He is no more relevant in that particular board.
The thing is that, can you confirm to this committee that the letters that you have as the board of directors, appointment letters, last for how many years? When is coming to an end?
The appointment was staggered through the The appointments was staggered because of course people cannot exit at once.
Yes.
So we had two members who joined, because when we ran the call for expression of interest, the year, I will give specific examples. The year Director Serem and Chalodi joined, we did not have a third person, so they joined two of them. Then the following year, we had 4 people joining so that there could be a balance. So we now got, because this is through a process, it's a competitive process.
Okay, that one,
yes,
we are getting now that
yes,
it is not that all of them can go home at once.
At once, yeah.
They need to be a break of like 2 intervals, so that for the progress and the institutional memory.
Yes.
But I want to ask you, what about the company secretary in this case, who is now the managing director? As the chair, I think you know the date of appointment and also whether the letter is appointment is renewed, or when does the appointments come to an end for managing director?
Thank you. Through the chair, MD's letter is he's now starting the 3rd year of his appointment. It's a 5-year contract, so he has done 2 years. So he's starting the 3rd year. This was also done. He joined almost the same time with Apollo, because he came acting when we you remember Terer. I think all of you remember Terer. Terer had to leave midway to Bomet, so we needed to get somebody to occupy that position, and so we quickly did an internal advert, and we had staff who were eligible to apply, and we ran the interviews quickly because we needed to have somebody fill up that position. So Ciele, who was actually the regional manager who was in charge of the rural, we gave him the opportunity to be the MD just after the merger. So he acted for a while, and then we confirmed him, of course, after a process. So he was confirmed, and his letter was given to him. The appointment letter was issued to him. So it's still in force as we are talking now through the chair. that letter of his.
Okay, thank you so much. Being the chair to KEWASCO, I know that you understand and you are concerned about the operations of KEWASCO very well. We have staff from rural and we have staff from urban. Can you tell us more about, because we have number of staff who are claiming that they still have 9 or 10 months arrears of salary and others have 2 or 1 month arrears of salary. Can you tell us, as the chair of this institution, what is your take, what is your plan for the institution, and also as well, how is your relationship between the directors, managing director, and the county government of Kericho?
Let me put all of them down. Yes. Yeah.
Can I just repeat once?
Yes,
If you don't mind.
relationship between
Okay, your work relationship between the county government and managing directors, and also as the and the CEO, that is the MD now, leave alone the board of directors. I want to know the relationship between the managing director, that is the MD, from managing director to the board of directors, where you chair, and also in relationship also between the whole KEWASCO board of directors, managing director, with the county government executive. How is your relationship? Because one, this is a county government. The KEWASCO belongs to the resident of this county. And if it belongs to Kericho residents, that's why we appear to this committee, because we are representing them in this county assembly. And we do oversight to KEWASCO and executive as well. So kindly, if you can elaborate on issues salary, on issues other benefits that the staff needs to be given from this water company, kindly. And in addition.
Okay. So I can proceed. Thank you, Chair. If I will start with we have the rural and the urban arrangements or cost centers in our company. This was actually a resultant of the merger, and the result of this was came to being due to the research and the study which was done by GIZ, where they actually looked at our capacity to be loanable, if I can use such a word, or to be funded by a partner or a friend, or even the government, the national government, for example. We were not able, because our books, first of all, were not looking good. Our business generally was not viable for anyone to look at, even the banks. So the merger happened after a lot of consultation from the regulator, WASREP. The county government was heavily involved. I remember, if I can be specific, the late Honorable Susan, may her soul rest in peace, she was quite involved, because she meant good for the community, as you rightly used, and she wanted this company to run across and benefit everyone in terms of the water provision as an essential service. So we had the merger then happening after a lot of consultation and a lot of study was done. Hence, the rural cost center and the urban cost center came to be. This was now an advisory from the regulator, WASREP, so that the operations would also form a study. Remember, we are the only water service provider which is clustered countrywide. The whole of Kenya, it's only Kericho which has a merged or a clustered water service provision company. And therefore, they said for us to get that study to its finality and see how it works, let the rural run its operations, let the urban run its operations based on the study they gave us. Then we would be able to see who should be or where will be the assistance be needed and support. This actually gave us the opportunity to attract partners and donor funding And I think you are aware of the Dukamoja, though it was a water plan which had started long time ago. But the books of the water company could not attract such kind of facility to be brought to us. That's why the first instance we lost almost a similar amount of almost 9 billion to the neighbor Kisii and Nyamira. But when we quickly got this study done by the consultant, he said, yes, Kericho County as an entity have capacity. The goodwill of the county government would also attract the interest of the donor, because you cannot be bringing your money to where the support is not going to be there from the parent of the company. So Kericho, the county government was very keen, and hence I think we got to where we are at the moment in terms of projects. Secondly, the Rural Call Center, we have staff of, the total number is 209, total staff of Kericho Water currently. Rural have 55. This includes the casuals. And the urban have, I think, less of 55, should be 170 or 180 something.
Okay, Chair.
Yes.
With us here we have human resource representative staff establishment.
Yeah.
We have 149. We have 47 for rural. Total 196. But unless you want to tell us the report that we have is not the facts from the water company, but what we have here is because you are still...
No, I say that including the casuals, I just thought, because casuals, it's a cost, isn't it?
Okay.
When they are in your books, it is a cost.
So from your end, how many staff do you have in Apan, permanent and pensionable?
149, 150.
Permanent and pensionable.
Those who are actually, I did not go into those details. I just thought I would give.
Okay.
Rural, they are 55.
Okay.
But physically, I think those who are permanent are around 49 to 50. You remember some we've, I may not be having the correct figure because some have exited through retirement.
Okay.
Yes, so I may not be
but
very
just an advice,
because I didn't get opportunity.
Chairman,
to have
just an advice to Chair KEWASCO is that with numbers you don't need to be giving like it is 40 to 50. You need to be giving an exact number. But for now, we'll allow you also, since that you are the chair to this company, I think it is good also you know the numbers of the staff, so that in case of any one of the staff or member of staff has a problem, you will be able even to identify that it is rural, even those who are retiring, even those who are still having their pending of salaries. So kindly tell us this issue about the arrears of salaries for 10 months and for 2 months.
Sure, thank you. Through the chair, I was not able to get that document because I traveled from Nairobi this morning, flew to Eldoret and then drove here because of I had a private issue to attend in Nairobi on Monday. So I left. That's why I've just walked in because I was on the road and I told the MD he said he was appearing before me. So I'm sorry, for figures must be correct because you cannot be guessing. And these are human beings, supposed to be factual. But I was just giving a rough figure, which I think is more or less around there. Was one, most of them are, we have about 45 aging staff who are supposed to be exiting the company in due course. Of course, according to the reports we got in the last board meeting. Back to the cost centers and the arrears, it is quite regrettable that I appear before this honorable committee to say that we have salary backlogs and arrears, and it is quite unfortunate. Some 3-4 months ago, I even asked the MD if we could go for an overdraft to be able to pay some of to reduce the liability. But the overdraft, we are not allowed by law, because we are not a profit-making company. So he told me we cannot try that bit of overdraft. The other monies which are supposed to be statutory in nature must be remitted within the stipulated time frame, lest you get into loggerheads with the law. And so I told, or we agreed that let him do whatever prudence he can so that we are able not to have the government coming on our neck in terms of non-remittance. So the arrears, I know, runs into months. And the plan we had, we were hoping that the project of Duka Moja was coming to fruition. And we have the last mile connectivity, which is actually happening now. We got a donor who helped us. And I think the chair, you were present when we had Kawanishi commissioning the last mile. And I want to report here that the pipeline has been laid to completion as at yesterday. Yes. Yeah.
What made the company to go to this mess? You have been in KEWASCO, as you have already told us, from 2017. Why this mess? Initially, you used to pay your workers in time. You had no arrears. But now, as we are speaking, those ones who are under rural have been without salary for the last 10 months. The ones working in the urban, we are told again that they have salary arrears for 2 months. Why? In fact, what you are trying to say, or what you are trying to tell us, are ways of mitigating these challenges. But why?
Thank you, Chair. Through the Chair. Thank you, Honorable Anthony. Through the Chair, I would in summary say that, and I began by saying it's really regrettable that you work and the motivation, first of all, goes when you're not paid. And that is the position we are with our staff in KEWASCO. When the rain started beating us, I want to believe is not now. The liabilities, which I think are appearing in our books, that's why we went to Senate, to the Committee on Public Investments, to answer some of those questions, are chronological, and they come from behind as way back, dating to the days of municipal council, because we had staff who were offloaded. This offloading happened with statutory deductions not being remitted. So when I joined the board, me and the rest of the colleagues who were with me, we agreed that let prudence be done in matters building the account of the pension, because somebody would want to go. We also had issues with LAFAND. And that money is not few shillings or few thousands a chair. It is millions of shillings. The mess, yeah?
Millions or billions?
I'm saying it goes into millions, maybe billions if it is now cumulative, but the ones which are touching on the personnel, and I mean, the one which would touch me and you as physical and living whatever in the company. The others would actually be in liabilities of assets. But this is, I'm talking of that which touches on staff. If today they want to leave, or if today they said we are all exiting, where will the company raise that money? It is not few shillings, it is a lot of money. I would give an example of the LAFAND, which had 91 million on record, but down in the account was negative. I will not be able to explain that kind of where that money went, because we even wrote a letter to the transition authority so that we'd be able to understand. Remember the split of the districts also when Bomet split with Kericho, the liabilities which were then existing were all brought to Kericho. Nothing went to Bomet because, KEWASCO started a bit later. So everything else was taken by the parent, which I think all of us know Kericho was the parent of the bigger brother of Bomet. So we have those issues still appearing and still being in our books. Hence,
For how long have you been the chair?
I have been the chair for the last 2 years. Yes.
You have talked of 91 million.
Yes.
Eh?
That was on one account. That was on one of the items, not all.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
We had, I talked of La Fund. There was the pension scheme, which
I'm interested with 91 million, the LAFAN.
Yes.
Uh-huh. You said the funds disappeared.
It was nowhere physically, but it was existing on record.
Uh-huh.
So those are the liabilities now which we wanted the Transition Authority to tell us how we would get to know how they disappeared physically disappeared. So we were not able to get the answer. But we were promised that it was being looked into, because we needed to now build the account for the pensionees, the beneficiaries, who needed their money, who needed to be given. Like we had a team coming from Bomet to demand that you people have our money, and we have not been seeing any demonstration of you trying to remit. And I'm sorry, Chair, it has been like a circus. We have bank accounts which have been frozen also because of court orders which went ahead of just after the split of the districts and the creation of the county governments. So things have just been in that lacuna because of one, records cannot be traced. Same thing to assets, which even if you want to dispose, of course, using the provision of the Disposal Act, you may not be able to get the documents like title deeds, like what do you call these? The documents for the vehicles, logbooks. It is actually a whole mess. But we were hoping that as the national government would help us to actually maybe write off some of those so that they are issued, others are issued. We have discussed with NTSA. According to what the MD informed me, the NTSA are now putting all the inventory together so that we are able to get some of these documents availed to us. So I'm sorry to have gone into things which were not relevant, but about the salary, Chair, when the MD informed us that there is no collection down from the rural, there's a month, for example, he said he had a collection of 50,000. And what is 50,000? Again, is 2.3 million, which is needed every month to suffice or to service the salaries for the rural cost account. So we actually agreed in one of the meetings that let the statutory be paid because it affects us. If they say KEWASCO, they will not come and say this is from where. So the statutory has been carried by the urban cost center to a tune of 12 million, as at the last report which we got. And I thought that was a demonstration to show that we are trying to do something. The collection of you know what happens with water? If there is no water in your tap today and you get a bill, I don't think you'll put it as a priority. You may not be able to because you don't have the commodity in the first place. But you could be billed for an incurred expenditure or an incurred use of a past moment when water was there. So we've had those challenges that we may not collect all the billed revenue due to reasons which get over us. Sometimes, like there's a water disconnection in Retain, for example. Whatever had been billed that month, nobody will pay until such a time we connect. This is water which we rely the supply from Bomet. And we've gone severally to Bomet, even through the department. We've had our Honorable Rosemary chairing some of the sessions to tell them, kindly give us the water as we sort out the payment. And it has been back and forth, if I can just use that word, because we've had several meetings with them. So when there is no water supply, especially in retail, which is the main source of revenue from rural, then the rural call center will collect no revenue. Yes. Yeah. Staff. Yeah.
When you look at or when you compare this number of employees and the work to be done, are they when you compare the two, is it commensurate? Because maybe you have overemployed the staff. Aside that, what you collect as revenue will not be even enough to pay these staff salaries. Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair. Whenever we have supply, Chair, I want to report to this honorable committee that we always, when we collect like almost 100%, that money goes into the various vote heads, for example, where we have to buy the expenses. Expenses, salary alone takes 9 million, almost around there. If we collected 15 million or 12 million, 9 has gone. We have the chemical. You have the statutory remittance to make within the stipulated dates by government or by law. It ends up being we are on the negative most of the time. But with issues of full collection of revenue, for example, is done, we almost.
But you cannot be able to have 100% collection of revenue, and yet you don't have consistent supply of water. For example, Gipkelia, it has been without water for almost 1 year, meaning that zero collection. We are told again, Kapkatet and Litei, in a month, in 3 weeks, in a month, no water. Water can only be there for 1 week. Meaning that there will be no revenue collected.
Okay, and a
big one.
For the last 10 months. And as we are moving ahead, it will not be 10 months. It will be more than 10 months. Are we going to come out of those problems, surely?
In addition, Chair, yes. If you have a staff who have not earned a salary for 10 months and you are sending to collect the revenue, do you think you will get the full amount?
Not at all.
Thank you so much. And then even from the Hapan, do you know that in Hapan, we have some clients who are missing even the supply of water from KEWASCO because of some few things from the company. And I wish that since that we want to forge the way forward here, we need to discuss the future of this KEWASCO. And we need also to help each other to know whether that we can have this KEWASCO to be run by a private sector, or we keep on looking for people who are incompetent, because at the end of the day, it is very even, for me, it is very even not, I'm not even so much comfortable to interrogate or to ask question to ask question in terms of the poor management that we have in KEWASCO. It is very hard for me because those are the senior people. You know, we are still young, but the issue is that if we have a manager, a managing director, we have managers from each and every section. Like now in capsoid social, we have a manager who is not delivering anything. People in that area, they are complaining day in, day out. We have a manager in Bureti. The issue with Bureti, the issue with Kapkatet and Litain, it is more special because we must pay Bomet for us to get water. We have an issue in Kipkelion, whereby we need just to correct some pumps for Kipkelion residents get water and pay the KEWASCO. But I want to ask you, where is the future of this KEWASCO? Especially from the Hapan. We have now the new treatment plan. We have the new treatment plan, Kimugu. What does that Kimugu had? Does this Kimugu treatment will add value to the KEWASCO? It will reduce the cost that we have at the moment of salaries, arrears. It will reduce the expenses that we need to be getting revenue from this water. Because at the moment, we cannot even do last mile connectivity today for us to get revenue, since we don't have the money as the KEWASCO. But I want to know from your end, what is the future of KEWASCO? What is the future of KEWASCO? Because come next month, we'll be talking of the 11th month. Come the other month, we'll be talking of the 12th month. Come next month also, we'll be talking of 3 months or 2 months from the upper. But what is your plan with the board of directors? Do you have plan for this KEWASCO? What is the strategic plan do you have for KEWASCO to grow? Because I've just asked you a very simple question that this is the committee. We normally present issues water department to the budget committee. But we have never seen any request from KEWASCO asking us kindly budget for us 10 million, we suit the employees. Budget for us this, we deal with issue of the last mile connectivity. Kindly tell us, what is the future of this KEWASCO?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Honorable Matthew. You've asked a very pertinent, or made a very pertinent comment regarding the performance, the capacity of management in KEWASCO, which I want to really indicate that we have very good staff in KEWASCO. That is according to my assessment. The only thing is the capacity and the support, which I think has been trickling in, coming and not coming. You've mentioned that you've never seen any request for any capacity support through the committee, which I think from where I sit, I know we made several attempts to have our case brought to your attention. And whatever monies which were promised in the past have never come fully. It comes trickling. So if it drops, it becomes a drop in the sea, because as it comes, the gap of the expenses, or rather the needs, is wider than what comes in. And that is where the problem emanates from, or that is where the problem is domiciled. If we requested, if the payment of water, for example, the electricity bill is paid to Bomet as is required or as expected, and we get a supply of water throughout, I think you just need to bring to the attention of the staff that, look, water is here, and manage the processes of leakages and what have you. We have a very old infrastructure, for example, where when that water is also available, we lose quite a bit of it. And through interventions of seeking for assistance from experts from outside and the partners, the donor funding, we were able to put pilots, projects in parts of Kericho around the stadium, where we wanted to know how this water is lost when it is in the pipeline. And the findings were quite interesting. I believe the MD must have shared with you that within the pipeline we have in town, we have almost several lines running at the same time. So sometimes water goes maybe to a line which ends nowhere. And it's a problem which needs a lot of rehabilitation. And that rehabilitation is not cheap, if we can just use that word without blinking or without mincing our words. It is an infrastructure rehabilitation which is quite expensive, and if we get that support, we'll be able to talk something else. We had the staff. We had learnings from our sister water service providers, Eldowas, for example, where they had the same issue, where the rural schemes were not viable, they were not making any profit, and the department took over the payment of salaries. The Department of Water in Uasin Gishu, and they were able to resolve. So if we get that subsidy support as signed by the county government then in 2018, that they were going to give a capacity support of 1 million every month towards, and it was actually specific towards salaries for the rural, then it was going to be something else. But it has never come. I think it stands at almost more than 60 million now as we are talking. And if this subsidy is not forthcoming, especially to support the salaries, then I think we are headed into rocks, and we might, some of us, be bundled into jail because we sit there as responsibility duty bearers to the staff. It is quite unfortunate. You mentioned something on the Kimugu water project. This is going to be a turnaround for us if we get the last mile connectivity, which I think for now, the Belgut last mile connectivity is yet to begin. We've finished the one for Inamoy, and the one to Kapsoit, Kaptoboiti, is actually almost being commissioned. These are efforts which KEWASCO did on their own through network and connections, which we've seen it bearing fruit. Chair, I think you're a witness, that when we sell that water, definitely the cost center which is going to be running to collect that revenue is the rural. Like if it comes to Temngetuny is in the rural scheme. Definitely that collection will be going to that kitty of the rural. Whereas the urban would also need some funding to rehabilitate the network within the town so that it is able not to lose any water. Because we find leakages here and there because of the old infrastructure. But I believe it's a matter of time. Which time? Wait for no one. Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Chair.
Do you want to confirm to this committee that in terms of collection of revenue, the one for the rural, they bank on their own account so that you know how much they have collected in terms of the revenue, or they are being deposited in one account? Because when the merger was done, I don't think that there should be a separate accounts. So please confirm to us if they have been running different accounts and the status of their collection. Because when you talk of 10 months, it is almost a complete 1 year. You have only 2 months to a year. And you mean for the last 10 months, they have not been collecting any revenue? And if so, maybe another question is, when was your last meeting as the board?
Thank you, Chair, for that question. The arrears, I think, has been building from the time when we had no water, drought. There was a dry spell which affected us quite a bit. Then the time of the COVID, that is when we also ran into a lot a lot of mess because revenue was not collected. However much water was being supplied, revenue was not coming as expected. Yes, we've had collections. We have different, the rural schemes have their collection accounts, which deposits go. And sometimes if somebody paid, the system is able to identify and relocate accordingly. That is a prudence which we asked management to be able to know how much we are collecting from the rural revenue collection. So I think that one is something done within the intelligence or the prudence of management. And yes, we are able to know how much we get from every scheme at any one given time. So, for example, there's a, before our meeting, this is which month? This is October. We had our meeting in July, sorry, it was in July. So the revenue from the rural account was 400,000. 400,000. So within this 400,000, are you going to pay statutory? Because that is mandatory. Are you going to pay salary? So I think management did in its wisdom, topped up and paid what was crucial, and they paid part of the salary. That is the report we got. And we actually the report was that they decided to pay the current and leave the backlog, because the backlog dates back to the time of the merger, some of them. So some months are being paid carried forward like that. So I'm not able to maybe give you the sequence, but I know there are carry forward months when the year begins, you keep it aside. We also had the CBA, the 4%, which needed to be adjusted. But we had a meeting with the union and told them, look, even if we adjusted, we may adjust, but not to the full amount. So they had a meeting with management, union representations, union leadership, and I think they agreed on how to address some of those, the lacunas which were existing. And as I began earlier, it is a messy situation because of the revenue which doesn't come in, as the flow is not regular. The other one was the status, of course, is arrears, and it's not 2 or 3 months. For the rural, it is more than the urban. Urban, I think, will have theirs reduced, because sometimes there's a day they were all planning to go on strike, because they said, when we got rural coming to us, we started getting into this mess. So the best thing which we can do, as asked by Mheshimiwa Matthew, the way forward would be maybe to separate the two entities. Let the rural run on its own, let the urban run on its own, but the quick remedy would be the department to take over the salaries for the rural staff for the time being. I believe that would be the quick remedy, because even we talked of the last mile. By the time the customers are connected, by the time, because we've had partners who have engaged with us, but if you talk of salary being part of the component you are requesting for, you almost get a no. Of course, it gets a no, because how can I pay salary? How can we put that component of salary? We only had a salary support through the CSLG, the conditional grant, which came from government during COVID. The others have been project-based, but they don't have salary component per se.
You as the chair, when you say let them run differently, and you are the chair to the board, and the merger was done when you were in, which advice are you giving us? Is it when you merge them, it becomes a burden to the urban? And since 2018, a number of years have gone. And we are talking of only 10 months right now. People have not earned their salaries, but they have been earning way back. When I was joining this assembly, it was arrears of only 3 months. Now it has accumulated to almost a year, within a period of only 1 year. You want to tell me that is it the problem of the rural or the management? Because when you say to run on their own, will they have their own management?
Thank you, Chair. Of course, if we have to decluster, then it follows a process. And as the advisory from the regulator was that run the 2 cost centers for us to have the prudence of how each one of them will be able to work, how each one of them will be able to go into their expenses by actually going out to get the money through connectivity and service provision. Secondly, you mentioned that from 2018 to date, it has gone into many years. Yes, it is true. What has been happening, which I may not be able to categorically or mention it, maybe the way it has been happening, there have been borrowings from within the company. But of late, it has become audit query. The borrowings from some accounts which were not being like depository accounts, which had some deposits there. We borrowed, and always management through the MD would write a letter to the board, we approve. Then when we do collection, we refund. But it has been flagged by the Auditor General. It has become an audit query, and that account again was billed from zero. It had no money. So with the building up, we had about 5 million, which we could easily access because you now cannot get into borrowing from nowhere and from nothing. So the same borrowings again have been somehow stopped. Then this mess of delays, because we have to collect. What do you have rural? We have this. What do you have urban? We have this. Then within the wisdom of management, this has happened not because of somebody wishing, but because of conditions beyond what is possibly humanly possible to do. So the borrowings from the depository accounts, again, had to be, you build it over time. After a while, the tariff issue came in. You could not adjust the tariff because it is a regulatory issue. Hence,
Chairman, I think because of time, we have strained so much since morning. I think you can give the chair to give us the closing remark, Chair.
Maybe you give us the closing remarks. It is good also that as the chair, you give us the way forward. Number 2, you have never engaged this committee in way of having some of the resolution to the department because this is the house that approves the budgets. And you are engaging yourselves in terms of changing the tariffs, but not minding the welfare of families. And I don't know, you as the chair, what is your take on that? Because having somebody that is working, and now they don't even provide the services, they don't collect the revenue, they want the salary, the management are not working on that. So these are some of the people we can say they are taking only the salary minus delivering the services. And not because of their will. It is because of also the management. When you say the assembly have not cooperated, remember the time of COVID, that is in 2019-2020. The former governor said, let us use water. No payment. And people used water. The Department of KEWASCO raised an alarm. And this assembly proved 50 million to meet the wages of the staffs. When there is a concern, it is a concern to this assembly. You have not raised any concern or any alarm since we joined. So do we live the life of everybody taking on its own direction, or we look for a lasting solution? Now, number two, and the last one, is that you say we can have these two companies run on their own separately. There are some of the staffs that you promoted from the rural to the urban. Will you take them, and especially from the accounts office, will you take them also back? And remember, you visit their salary schedule. So will they go back to the rural, or you retain them? Then they'll start having their financial, their finance team. So kindly give us the direction.
Sure.
And maybe after that, if there is no any other question, maybe you will make your closing remarks.
Yeah, maybe through the chair, before allow me to raise a few issues here, and this will not require the chairperson to respond. I'm a bit alarmed because of the liabilities that KEWASCO is carrying forward from the defunct municipalities. I was a team that was part of doing the asset verification in 2014 and 2015, when actually the assets and liabilities of the defunct municipal councils were being verified and validated and being transferred to the county government. I'm a bit surprised that those liabilities for the defunct municipalities are with KEWASCO until this point in time. All the liabilities were validated and transferred to the county government, and they were subsequently absorbed by the county government in that process of 2014 and 2015. Now, subsequently in 2020, we were doing another verification of assets for the ministries, for the water ministry, for example, lands ministry, fiscal planning. The parent ministries ought to have transferred their assets to the county governments because of the transfer of functions. Now, we've done two levels of verification of assets, and we've done two levels of transfers of those assets. It is actually at the very high level. It is at the presidency level now. It is at the deputy president. It is at the IBEC level. If KEWASCO still has liabilities for the municipalities, and then I think something must have gone very wrong somewhere that needs to be corrected. Because now, how do we plow back the liabilities to the county government, yet it was validated at that time? The validation meant certifying and saying, this is the right figure, lest the county government meet that particular figure. You know, the 91 million that you mentioned there for LAP fund, you know, is alarming, because we had a figure for LAP fund overall for all the defunct municipalities. So we had a figure for LAP fund, and we had a figure for the LAP trust at that time. We had a figure for the National Housing Corporation. We had a figure for KCB that were for assets both for Litein and Bureti Municipal Council. Now, I'm just imagining right now, and I think that is a food for thought for the board, how do we plow back these liabilities to the county government? Because it has never been recognized anywhere. It has never been realized anywhere. And that confirms to me something about the independence of KEWASCO, you know, about the independence in terms of operations. Because those liabilities and assets for the defunct municipalities ought to have been reflected in the books of the county as is now. And it was done at that particular time. It's not now. See, now we are at 2023. Then it was 2014. That's 8 years ago. So how do we now bring in those liabilities and assets to the county government? Yet the county government books in their assets, they have already done, some closure. That is my issue, Chairman. So, and it's a comment. There is no response on that. Thank you.
Thank you. That is quite useful, because those are the reports which have been appearing. And you see, when we went to Senate, we were being fried on things we could not even answer some of them, because they have been flagged every time by Auditor General. And you see, some of them went to Bomet, and I mean, the ownership and even the responsibility lies somewhere, I don't know, in the air. Thank you for that comment. Chair, I think you mentioned on the wages which the county, this assembly, approved to support the running of the operations of KEWASCO during that sad moment of COVID. Sadly, I think from what I know, because I was there as a board member, the 50 million, in fact it was 52, it was not 50. We only got 16-point-something million, which came into our account. And it was specifically for certain board heads, salary especially, because it was something salary could not stop, needed to continue. Against, of course, the operations which were almost free at that moment. So between now, Treasury and KEWASCO, I think 32 million around there never got to us. I believe that is what I can talk with that, a lot of authority on that one, because every time, the same moment, at the same time we got 42 million around that time from the from the trust fund, the water trust fund. Because everybody was like, let's see. They gave us chemicals, and there was a grant which came in cash to support salary and statutory deductions. Because that time, it was like, as you finish this one of, if the county, if the one from the county came in full, I think we would have had some of the deductions paid up to date. But now, it had to be prudence of sharing the 16 million. Salary, it just disappeared like that. And of course, we went back to, when we asked, what do we do? We were told, please ask customers who are willing to pay. So some of them, of course, were willing to settle their bills. At the same time, we lost some of the very good customers, the schools around. Kipsigis Girls was one of our very good payers. There was a move to have a water borehole sunk for them. So part of the revenue which was coming from such customers who would pay to the last one, again reduced. So several issues came into play. At the same time, when there is rain in Kericho generally, you would have that water of Kericho being over KEWASCO not being used as it would be. So you get the usage during a rainy season like this not being as is when it is dry. So again, the revenue collection, I was just trying to say that, Chair, it fluctuates. So every time, like the last financial year, we got a loss of 46 million we were not able to meet in our budget. Reason being, the revenue collection was not, our budget is a wish list. We were not able to meet, to collect as we had envisaged because of the no-water occasions, the non-revenue water which we lose in the pipelines. And therefore, it's just a collection of small things which builds up, and the salary is the one which comes out very clearly because it is dealing with the human being, the staff. And I think it's a very regrettable position. If we could get subsidy, a regular subsidy on time, and I can vouch for this, even for 5 months or 6 months, and this connection of Kimugu, the last mile is done, the rehabilitation of the urban Kericho is done in terms of pipeline, I think we would be good to go. because we have very good customers. Some pay even without having that water in their pipeline because they know when it is there, it is good water. The quality, of course, is not questionable. So if we got that subsidy, we will be able to manage it well, and it will be used in the right, it will be to be put into the right usage. Sorry, the liability, I think you're just making a comment. Chair, that would be what I can say. Subsidy would be the quick intervention. There's something you mentioned about why we would not have to engage with your committee or this house on regular basis. From where I sit, I believe the representation which we have in our board is not any other staff from the department. It is the policy maker, the policy makers, that is the water CEC and the CEC finance, where within their dockets, they are able to, like when they're in our meeting, we are glad that they give an answer which is almost time T, it will happen. It's unfortunate that the request which would have reached here through the department may have missed for reasons I may not be able to give at the moment, but for us, we submit what we need as per the requirement because we work very closely with the department. There are developments which are done by the department. At the end of the day, it is the service provider, KEWASCO now, because of the quality issues and also, I mean, the department may not have that capacity to do the plumbing work and what have you. It is KEWASCO to do it. So if a project is developed and put into completion and handed over to us, I believe KEWASCO have the capacity to manage it very well. And why do I say this? And I want to correct this feeling that there is poor management or something next to incompetence. I would really wish to correct that observation by saying if there was aspect of those inefficiencies, then we would not be talking of the grants which we have already secured for the company. And of course, it comes through no objection approval, which we get from the department. Currently, we are having to a tune of 500 million, which grants are coming to Kericho, and some of them through KEWASCO. The recent one was signed about 3 days, about last week, of almost 500 million, which is a twin donor funding from World Bank. We have 500 million coming to KEWASCO, and we have, I think, almost 6 billion coming through the department. This will be going to the schools to supply water to schools, and this is a World Bank program, which I think will be happening very soon before beginning of next year. We've had, we had Kimugu completion and it was commissioned. If it is not, that water will not get to your tap, your Mheshimiwa Chair. How then will you pay? Because you've not been connected. So we got proposals which went through to Kawanishi. I think you saw that team. That is actually a private company which had a discussion, management. It was brought to us. We approved quickly because we said, do we have to seek authorization from the department? On this one, which somebody is saying, give a proposal. We want to use our technology to connect water, or to give you to come and demonstrate in your service provision. We actually got we won 20 million, and if those 30,000 or 3,000 people in Amoi would be connected with water and they have a bill to pay every month, don't you think that is something, a revenue which should be coming to KEWASCO? It is. JICA are embarking on the Belgut, Kemngetun further to Kapke Lakeside. We've already signed the contract. JICA, Embassy of Japan, the embassy itself. JICA took over the one for Sosiot to Kapke Lake, to Tablotin and further down. I mean, there are things which are coming, and from where the company was when I joined, it is not what it is now. And I'm glad, even as I will be leaving, it is not KEWASCO which I found. At some point I thought, what have I found myself in? I used to work in a national government entity, and things were working very okay. But when I came here, it was like, have I landed in, is this the right place? But I want to report here that things have improved. That is why, from the audit report, which was actually a disclaimer, it came to, it is now qualified. It is something which I can proudly say, being associated with KEWASCO, things have happened. And they have not happened because of just pushing the good practice of governance. We were the leading in governance countrywide among the other water service providers. Why? Because we have said, even if we cannot get this done, let us do the right thing. We were able to attract KFW. When they finished Kimugu, because that was done by Lake Victoria South, they now came down to us and the Kericho County as an entity. What do we do for you? We were able to, using again our books, because we cannot just fix anything from nowhere. Then if KEWASCO will be managing the project per se, let us give them. We have 2.6 billion. I think you are aware, Chair, the one which was going to retain for the sanitation. And from this sanitation, you're able to get revenue collection from, the refuse and the other levies, which are attracted through the water provision. Collections will definitely be realized. We've had the Kapkatet Water Service Trust Fund have given us up to a tune of 65 million. And I believe the project is going on right now. It's only that the contractor is being given from Nairobi, and they have already taken over the site. And a few other goodies. Even as we talk, Kericho Water does not have any project running in CISO, that is Soinsi Gowit. Reason being, we've not had any connection, any network developed around there. The Koru Soin Dam was going to be an answer to the CISO team, and that is why the department and Kericho Water are actually part of the team implementing or running, being enjoined in the Koru Soin Dam during its implementation. And I believe that water will be a game changer also once this is completed. So I want to say that not all is lost. It's regrettable that the salaries, even into the 10 months, is actually on our face. It is a shame. I've had occasions of being threatened. One of the staff wanted to stone my car one time. I found him somewhere and he said, "You are the chair who has refused us salary." And I was trying to ask him who he was. He took a stone and told me he was actually, it was an opportunity he got, came closer to me. I mean, some things have had to happen and they cannot be reported. As in, I had to go to police because that was now a direct attack, isn't it? But when I talked to the MD, he told me that fellow had had a problem in the office and he was actually on suspension. So, but to me it was a threat. I wasn't comfortable at all. And even up to now, it is something which makes me feel very sad. When we meet with other peers, they have the same issues, but I think ours is a bit unique because of the two core centers. Nakuru, for example, have an urban water service provider. And Honorable Matthew, I'm finishing. Sorry, I know you are tired. Nakuru have two schemes. They have the urban and the rural, but rural stands on its own. You see, it used to be like that during Tililbe, you remember? But now during the merger, our case became a bit unique. And the uniqueness is because, but it has brought a lot of good things. Kimugu was able to be approved because of the merger. We were able to get the economies of scale, to get the strength which is there in when we are one. It's unfortunate that these salaries, the months which are being mentioned, I want to believe so, I have not asked the MD, it dates back to some time, but we were trying to bring it to the current because the bank had the issues of CBA, which I may not indulge or engage in this sitting, but I believe if we got the grants which we have requested from the Water Trust Fund, and other would be Friends of KEWASCO. We had agreed and minuted in our meeting that part of it would go into salary. Let's just share and see how things can move. It's regrettable, but I believe it will be a thing of the past very soon. The soon, God knows, but it should be soon because we are alive and we see good things happening. We had also requested if we could use some of the money from a donor to pay salary, but we were told we cannot do that. They are not coming to pay, like putting food on your mouth. Do the infrastructure, get the revenue, pay salary. So we've tried all avenues, but it has not borne a lot of fruit, given that salary is a going concern. It's something which revolves very quickly, and the time is not on our side. Otherwise, I wish to end there and promise that if we got the subsidy as it would be, even if we got the balance of from 52 million, the 16 million which was given to us, if we got today that money, I think salary would take the first precedence. The agreement which was signed by the county government during the merger to be able to fund, to give 1 million every month, 1.1 something. If it happened today, because it's now running into 65 million, I think the whole of that money will go to rural because that was part of the package which was agreed during the merger. So if we got 65 million today, count on me, it will go into the rural stuff, it will address those issues, and I think it will happen without anybody changing or rather transferring that money elsewhere. Thank you so much, Chair. I don't know if I've made my submission, and if I haven't, I would really maybe wish to be given another time so that we are able to put some of the questions correct. But the issue of inefficiency and incompetence on KEWASCO, I want to really say it is not the correct position. We are up to the game, up to the task. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for finding time to be with us. Thank you also for responding to our questions and the way forward on solving some of the issues. We appreciate also the work that you have done so far. Though we appreciate, know that some of the people are not happy because they have the families minus their salaries. So it is good also when you are in leadership, and when we are in leadership, let us work together, let us join hands, let us reason together to have the solution. As much as we can appreciate the projects that you have done, but when it comes to the welfare of our colleagues or the staffs for KEWASCO are regretting and they are not happy, it is also not good to our side. So it is a point of concern, and that is why we have called you to reason together and to know the way forward. What are some of the resolutions that you have? So I hope with all the interaction that we have done, we will have some part of the resolution to be made. And we wish you all the best as you submit also your duties as the chair. And my only last advice is that leave a legacy to both sides. Leave a legacy that people can appreciate you the more. I know maybe the wananchi can enjoy the water services, But people who are working for that task are crying on the other side. So let us just try to balance both sides and see the way forward. I requested the managing director that if you will find even a solution to pay these people before the end of this month, at least even salary for 2 months. As much as you are talking that we look for some subsidy, it is a process and will table before the assembly. And as much as we are looking for such solution, also try your level best that you can meet even the 2 month salary to reduce those arrears before the end of the month. So I know with you, Ebo Chair, you can make some arrangement and we'll appreciate them more. Thank you for giving us your time, and we wish you a pleasant evening. And in case we need you anytime soon, we'll reach you. And also, if you see the need of having this committee to discuss more, feel free as the chair, call us, we meet, and we discuss. We are here to provide solutions. We are not here to condemn one another. And the last advice is that there is a court case between the MD and the executive. And I don't think that when you are fighting the MD, we use excessive power to be in the position. And I don't think that the court cases can solve the issues of Kericho County. We are all brothers and sisters in this county. So let us come together. If possible, we can withdraw the cases there. We come and sit and discuss outside the court, because we are there to provide solution. Thank you so much, and have a pleasant evening. Thank you. Such an attempt to direct you.